Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor at Madison365, with your daily update for Thursday, June 24th. Um, we're going to do the COVID news real briefly just because there's just not much to talk about. I mean, it's good. Everything's, kind of fine. Maybe there was a time when 116 new cases was a big deal and seemed horrible, but that was a long time ago. Today, 116 cases is fine, and that's what we have today. 116 new cases out of just under 1,400 new test results. These are the test results that are the first time negative test or the first time positive test, right? Of all the tests, including the repeated tests, in the past 7 days, 0.7% are positive. That is the third consecutive day at that number, which is also really good, right? Vaccinations continue to be really slow. Looks like we've got about 17,000 doses reported in the past 24 hours. That puts our daily average, of doses per day around 8,000 or so, which is not very many. But as long as it's kind of a all's well that ends well, right? I mean, with a relatively slow vaccine, we've still got almost half the population vaccinated, and that is still, and that's having an effect on the spread numbers, right? The spread is really slow right now, which is great. And that owes in part to the fact that it's summer, right? We saw pretty low numbers in June of last year as well. It kicked up in July and then got really bad in September. So we're hoping that doesn't happen. We're hoping that the fact that we're halfway vaccinated in this state will stop that from happening. And we won't see a repeat of last summer. I'm feeling relatively optimistic. We will see what happens in the coming months. But for right now, Wisconsin is in a really good place. And I think we can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief at this moment. Again, it's not gone. You still have to get people vaccinated. We'll talk a little bit more about vaccine clinics happening this weekend. But it's at a level that we could probably live with at this moment. Now, the state is reporting 0 fatalities in the past day, but our total death toll went up by 12, which means we're continuing the state is continuing to confirm COVID fatalities from the past several months. So the total death toll now 7,273 in the state of Wisconsin. All right, so there's a lot of other news to talk about today. I would love to send you to Madison365.org to catch up on all the news. One of the main features this morning was a new report from the Annie E. Casey Foundation. This is a nationwide report that ranks Wisconsin as the 10th best place to raise children, or the 10th best place for child welfare, I should say. But Dave Dahmer, our editor, spoke with Erica Nelson from Kids Forward here in Madison, here in Madison, but speaking about Wisconsin. And that Wisconsin is not the best place for Black and brown kids, right? When you put Wisconsin on a list, or when you put, maybe say Madison's the best place to live, or Wisconsin's the best place to do this or that, you always have to ask for whom. Only about 1% of Wisconsin's children live in high poverty areas. 35% of Wisconsin's Black kids live in high poverty areas, and about 18% of Wisconsin's Latino kids live in high poverty areas. Right, so this fact that we're in the top 10 nationwide for kids doesn't mean it's good for all kids here in Wisconsin. So just keeping that in mind. But Dave has a good story on that today, and Eric also has a lot of smart stuff to say about these issues today. Also today, a bill passed the Senate. This passed the Assembly. We reported on this, I want to say a couple of months ago now, it feels like. Sheila Stubbs on the left, Senator LaTanya Johnson on the right. Representative Sheila Stubbs and Senator LaTanya Johnson co-sponsored this bill. that would change the requirements for hair braiding. Right now, if you want to braid hair, which is a particularly African American thing, you have to have a cosmetology license, which you really don't need. So this bill would remove that requirement and allow you to um, allow people who want to start a business braiding hair in their homes to do so without this big onerous licensing requirement. It has now passed the Assembly and the Senate and is expected to be signed into law by Governor Evers in the near future. That just passed today, so we got a story on that on Madison365.org right now. The University of Wisconsin Athletic Department today announced Anita Nelson as the new Director of Inclusion and Engagement at the Athletic Department. She replaces Sheridan Blanford, who was the first person in that job, and she has moved on. Anita Nelson is a former student athlete at Judson University. She has a bachelor's degree from there and an MBA from Colorado Tech. She was a basketball player and was inducted into her school's Athletic Hall of Fame in 2020. Also today, I think we'll take a break right here, and then we're going to switch over and talk about some Fox Valley news, and then some sports. We'll take a pause right here. We'll hear from our sponsor. Don't scroll away. Give me 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
Here in the Midwest, community is important.
Having a healthcare system that's looking out for us,
that's actively addressing the racial disparities in healthcare is important.
When we can get good quality care, we can do more. We can achieve more.
We can be the kind of community we want to be, and that's really important.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
And we're back. Thank you for sticking with us. This is Louise Padron. She's a member of the United Nations. She lives in Brown County. She is a member of the Brown County Ad Hoc Committee on Racial Equity. You might remember we are part of a collaboration called the New News Lab, covering important issues in Northeast Wisconsin. And one of those important issues is the public health crisis of racism, which the county board up there in Brown County made an effort to make an official declaration, as 170 other jurisdictions have, to officially declare the public health crisis of racism. And they didn't do it. They came short, but they did create this committee to address racial equity over the next 2 years. And we are profiling all the members of that committee so you can get to know who they are, especially if you live up there. That's important. You want to know who's talking about this stuff on your behalf. So Abby Levine, a reporter up there, has a nice profile of Louise Padron today. She's a domestic violence advocate. She's a social worker, and she has that specific lens, especially as a member of the Oneida Nation as well. Also in the Fox Valley today, we are reporting that Appleton Pentecostal Assembly is hosting a vaccine clinic on Saturday. They're in a kind of a predominantly Black neighborhood. The pastor I spoke with the pastor there, Walter Ragland, who understands that Black folks have a very earned mistrust of healthcare systems sometimes. So they're trying to create a space where people could come and be among their own, people who they know and trust, and get the vaccine. And they're hoping to serve at least 50 people with vaccines and to sort of chip away at those disparities. In Outagamie County, where Appleton is, almost half of the population is vaccinated. Excuse me, but only 22% of the African American population in Outagamie County is vaccinated. So they're trying to get over that disparity a little bit. Also, last night was game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Trae Young scored 48 points. The Bucks fell 116-113. They were ahead at halftime by 5 and couldn't hold on. And for Madison last night, in a midweek game at Greenville, the first time to play in Greenville. Greenville's the defending champions of USL League One. Madison scored. Aaron Malloy, defensive midfielder, scored twice for Madison in the first 15 minutes. So Madison took a 2-0 lead. Gave up a goal later in the first half to make it 2-1, and then a controversial penalty. Noah Fuson called for a handball that was not really a handball in the second half. And Mario Slomis converted that penalty for Greenville and gave Madison a 2-2 draw in Greenville. Puts them in tied for 6th place in the league. The top 6 teams go to the playoffs. That's they've got 9 matches under the belt now with 19 to go. So a long season. The season goes well into October. Long way to go in that season yet. I don't think I ever should. There's Derek Gephardt. All right. That is the news for today. That's all I've got for you. I hope you have a wonderful evening and get out and enjoy it. It's stormy and rainy, but kind of nice and cool. So enjoy yourself. I'll be back tomorrow with another update right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're watching. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you soon.
This is 365 Media.